Hey y'all, welcome back to the Hickson Diaries. I've been thinking about something and I wanted to share it with y'all. It's a Dear Diary moment, if you will. Coming out of all of this emotional turmoil that I have been working through for my personal trauma and situation, I have been thinking about something a lot. The fact that my daughter didn't ask to leave their life behind. I made that decision for her. And for a really long time, I told myself that it made me a good mother, that I was doing it for her. And in the end, it'll be okay. But I'm not so sure that that was the real motivation anymore. This was a decision that nobody in the house really voted on. It was really a lot of my deciding. Obviously, the child was too young and the partner was comfortable and settled in the US, but would jump at the chance to return home and make life easier for him. Why wouldn't he? So this was a decision I primarily made about moving back to the UK or moving to the UK for me and the child. Yeah, when we were talking about it and we decided together that it was the right decision, of course, the partner was on board because he'd lived it and somewhat knew what he was walking back into, definitely more so than we did. But the child was only 12. She didn't get a vote. She wasn't part of the discussion. She was just informed that they were making this big life-changing leap across the pond. It was definitely the right call for me, maybe right for the family, but it wasn't a family decision. It was mine. And the story I told myself was, it's okay. It'll be okay. Kids are resilient. She'll adjust. This is a gift. I'm doing this for her own good, and she'll thank me for this one day. All those old sayings that we hate hearing from our own parents when we're kids, but are always somehow repeating when we get into that parental position, because ultimately now I've learned, being in this situation, that it's really ways that we're trying to explain this reality that comes with lived experience that a child just can't fully comprehend. And no matter how intelligent they are, no matter how much you have tried to explain it to them, it just comes from a life that they haven't lived yet. So that's the best way, is to kind of, basically you're telling them, just trust me on this one. That's a lot to ask of a 12-year-old though. It's a lot to just completely uproot, take them to another country and just say, trust me, it'll be okay. I think that the truth I didn't really want to acknowledge at the time, and definitely for a long time of being here in the UK, is that I was primarily, or at least heavily, doing it because I was the one who needed the reset, and she was kind of the collateral damage to my healing. I told myself that I was doing it for her future, but was I just lying to myself? Was I just trying to convince myself? Was I just telling myself that I was doing this for her to avoid guilt? The guilt of, that I was the one that was putting her through all of this pain and anguish, and that there were really selfish motivations involved. There's so many things she's not going to get to experience. She's not going to get to experience a high school graduation. She's not gonna get to experience that freedom that you feel in that summer between high school and starting college or university in the US. She's not going to know the feeling of taking her first big road trip with people that she's grown up with and she's known since kindergarten, or understand the emotional growth that comes from saying goodbye to that person, because you'll probably never see them again in adult life. And she has to watch outside as a bunch of people that she knew, she loved, she experienced many things with, have these memorable moments that she could have, but ultimately she never will. She did what kids do. And, that is what we all do at that age, I guess. She went along with it, resigned and silent. Well, maybe more like 60-40 on the silence bit. She's never been afraid to tell me what she feels, so she gets that from me. So definitely wasn't 100% silent. But anyway, I digress. I mean, she did that thing that we all do, right? She acted fine because kids kind of instinctively know that their parents need them to be fine. So the partner got to have the reunion with his family and friends. He came home. he had the fun, happy excitement while my daughter left home and had to deal with all of the pain and anguish that comes with that. And being thrown into this life that even though she was familiar with the people and players involved, she did not know anything about it. It was completely alien to her, really. And I was worried about her acclimation, and I took time to really try to help her as much as I could, but I don't know that I was as focused and understood it in the same way. And these past year or so, I've been really, really focused on my acclimation, that I don't think that I ever let it sit and permeate my brain to all of the emotion that she had to actually go through. And when you look at them side by side, the partner and the child, they're doing the same act, right? They're committing this to the same move, but they're doing it in from completely different perspectives, two completely different emotional experiences under one roof. And neither one really having a full understanding of what the other one is going through, or what they have been through, or how difficult or challenging it was. And then there's me in the middle, trying to figure out how to bridge the gap, and constantly going back and forth between the two, wondering if I made the right decision and if we're going to be okay, if they're going to be okay individually, all that. And even 3.5 years into the sucker, I still feel pulled in all these opposite directions sometimes. I think, I don't know, maybe whether or not it was the right decision is really, it doesn't really matter at this point, does it? I mean, ultimately the decision was made and here we are. I can't go back, or at least not, to the same life that I had in the US, which is good points, of course. But, and I don't necessarily regret the decision to move. I'm not super emotional and upset over it or anything. I have this unique feeling of guilt. I don't know, maybe I was doing something I totally and 100 emphatically believed in, but someone I cared about, the person I care about the most, kind of got crushed in the process. And now I'm sitting with that. And even if she comes out of it like the phoenix from the ashes, which she probably will, because she's brilliant in that way, in every way, pretty much, there's still no clean fix. It's still turmoil she had to overcome and go through. And knowing that she's a better person now, and seeing how she's navigating the UK school system and focusing on her future and all the friendships that she's created and the independence that she's gained from this experience, and the relationships that she's strengthened, and seeing what her vision for her future is. None of that could have come from living her old life in the United States. But it's not like an aha moment. It's not like that, oh, it all worked out in the end kind of conclusion. And she's building this life because she had to, because of the rupture that I caused, not in spite of it. It's not, she wouldn't have had to deal with any of this stuff if I didn't make the decision to completely uproot her life. It still feels a little bit selfish, and now I'm kind of caught. I'm kind of caught in between, was it all fair to her? And am I someone worth having disrupted her life for? I don't know. Look, I probably never will have the answer to it, right? I probably won't. There's all those things in life that we never actually get any full closure on. It's not a sitcom. It's not television. Things aren't tied up into a neat little bow at the end. Most often, you don't get a fairy tale ending in life. Most of the time, there's 1,000 questions that go unanswered that you just live with for the rest of your life wondering about. And that's just real life, right? And, real life is just trying to get to the end of whatever right ending. That's what real life is. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what real life is, trying to get to the right ending instead of having that fairy tale ending and everything tied up into the neat bow. Sometimes it's a straight path and it's straightforward and easy, or it feels relatively, uncomplicated. And sometimes it's really freaking messy. And sometimes, the complications are things that it's the result of the decisions you made along the way. It doesn't mean that the ending wasn't the right ending to get to, or wasn't the right path for you to go down, right? But it's tough to, I guess, to accept that you made a decision that changed someone's life and could have caused them pain and upset, especially when it's someone that, the most important person in your life, and you have to accept it because you can't change it now, but you also feel, that responsibility and that guilt from having caused that pain. Not something that's going to be so heavy that it, ruins your life or anything, but it's definitely not something that you can be dismissive about. But I suppose there's some peace in that conclusion too, right? Hopefully, please let there be. Because, oh my God, I don't know what I would do if I found out like this was the worst thing that ever happened to her. I don't know what I would do. But I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to think about the positives that are in her life now and how much she's grown and all the possibilities that lay before her for her future. And we will truck along and just figure it out as we go, like we always do, I guess.